안녕하세요. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. I'm Mike Lim, and I'm a venture capitalist. Climate change. There's definitely a lot that we should be doing to solve the climate problem that we are facing right now. And to do that, we definitely need to invest in technology that can really help us to decarbonize. As an investor, the question is now the right time for us to invest into climate technologies? Over the past decades, investment theme has been happening in cycle driven by macroeconomic, geopolitical, and technological trends. In the 1990s, we have the dot-com boom driven by the emergence of the internet. In the 2000s, China's entry into WTO leads to the rise of the Chinese giant. And in the most recent decades, we have the FANG domination fueled by smart devices and 4G. Post-COVID, the world is once again at an inflection point, driven by an existential crisis due to climate change. Will the new investment cycle involve climate? The world today is not the same post-COVID. The investment landscape has become increasingly complex. After decades of loose monetary policies, we are now facing rising interest rates across the globe. Inflationary pressure continues to stay high post-pandemic as our supply chain gets increasingly broken. The world has also never been more geopolitically divided since the World War. All these factors are resulting in uncertainty, and investors are generally taking in a more conservative and measured approach when it comes to investment. Hence, it's not surprising to see investment drying up in many areas. This includes previously hot sectors, such as fintech, biotech, cybersecurity. However, amid all these negativities, climate tech investment flow has remained resilient. Why is that? Climate tech investment in recent years has been supported by very strong macro tailwinds. On the demand front, we have around 137 countries already make their announcement for net zero goal targets as of today. They are joined by many other multinational companies which has made their own net zero pledges. On the regulatory front, governments around the world have also been introducing many pro-climate regulations and fiscal policies in recent years. These include the Inflation Reduction Act in the US and the Green Deal in Europe, which are providing billions of dollars worth of government supports to greenify industries in their quest to decarbonize. In the private sector, more than 330 new climate-related funds have been launched in 2022 alone. They have collectively raised close to US $270 billion worth of capital, and today they are looking to deploy into climate tech-related investment. This alignment between government, corporate, and capital markets are providing the much-needed momentum in climate tech investments like we have never seen before. This has allowed climate tech to go against the general trend of falling investment that we are seeing in all other sectors, most other sectors. At this juncture, it is important to note that climate tech did not just happen overnight. In fact, it started in the early 2000s with the emergence of renewable energy-related startups, and subsequently, the widespread implementation of renewable energy as the world transit out of its reliance on fossil fuel into clean electrons. This is what we call Climate Tech 1.0, which mainly centered around energy generation breakthrough in areas such as solar, wind, batteries, and biofuels, for example. Today, these technologies have started maturing. It is hence not surprising that while climate tech investment activities have been increasing over the past years, investment has been mainly concentrated in the space of renewable energy and mobility. While energy and mobility account for close to 70% of investment in 2022, according to a report by PwC, these two sectors only accounted for 30% of global emission. To truly decarbonize, we need to address emission in other key emitters, such as in food, agriculture, manufacturing, and building. And these will be the areas which Climate Tech 2.0 will have to focus on. Climate Tech 2.0 greatly benefited from conditions already created by the maturing of Climate Tech 1.0. One of the most significant of this condition is the drastic decline in the cost of renewable energy and batteries. These enabled the energy transition to take place at a speed and scale which was not possible in early days. The cost of solar and wind today are frequently cheaper than fossil fuels. And this is taking place in many locations. And with growing capacity, this looks to continue to accelerate. Tangential technologies such as sensor, artificial intelligence, machine learning, exascale computing, quantum computing, blockchain, additive manufacturing has also started maturing in recent years. All this will allow Climate Tech 2.0 business model to achieve improved unit economics to compete with traditional industries that they are trying to disrupt. Again, this is something not possible in the days of Climate Tech 1.0. Let me now quickly share two examples of Climate Tech 2.0 opportunities. First, hydrogen. Hydrogen has been widely touted as the potential clean replacement for fossil fuels as an energy source, both for the grid and for industry that struggle to electrify. Ironically, today fossil fuels are still the dominant source of industrial hydrogen being produced, simply because they are still the cheapest. However, as renewable energy costs continues to fall, methods such as methane pyrolysis, water electrolysis are becoming increasingly attractive. Why? Because they can use any source of electricity, including renewable energy, to produce clean hydrogen. However, production of hydrogen is just part of the equation here. What is crucial going forward is to find a way to safely store and transport hydrogen in a cost-effective manner. We believe that finding a solution for this may not be that far off. With the help of big data, artificial intelligence, high-powered computational simulation technologies, several researchers, institutes, and startups around the world are already discovering new materials that shows great promises to store and transport hydrogen safely and at a much commercially realistic conditions. The second opportunities in Climate Tech 2.0 is the emergence of carbon as an asset class. Despite the many criticism and controversy surrounding carbon credit, there are actually very few viable alternatives that can help address emissions that cannot be solved immediately, and yet help businesses speedily achieve their net zero goal. If done properly, carbon credit can be used to pay for decarbonization projects and potentially even fund breakthrough technologies that would otherwise not be properly funded. Given the huge effort needed to decarbonize, the world needs a voluntary carbon market that is large, transparent, verifiable, and robust as opposed to the fragmented, complex, and opaque carbon markets that we are having today. It is with this in mind that companies such as Expansive develops rule-based marketplaces and infrastructure that enable stakeholders to deliver transparent, credible, and auditable environmental claims to nascent ESG commodities such as carbon credit. Alongside marketplaces like Expansive, the growing adoption of technologies such as satellite imagery, artificial intelligence image analytics, and blockchain technology to measure, report, and verify carbon credit will further help to address the growing demand for assurance and accountability that will allow carbon credit to gain the much-needed credential to be recognized as an asset class of the future. This existential risk due to climate change is real, but it also poses as an opportunity of a lifetime as the world seeks for new solutions to this problem. Although we are living in an increasingly complex world, the tailwind supporting the climate technologies adoption has never been stronger. Alongside maturing technologies carried over from Climate Tech 1.0 and tangential technologies such as artificial intelligence, Climate Tech 2.0 hold great promises to provide solutions that can help us solve the crisis. If there is one thing that all investors should know, it is the key that timing is always key, and the time is now. And with this, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Professor Jong, who will be sharing his insights on the topic of climate tech and the career path forward. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.